I hated the Cespedes trade when it happened.
Why, man?
They lost their cleanup hitter.
Everything worked out very well.
Yeah, real well.
Especially
they lost it, but they worked out well.
Especially when Lester's in a different uniform next season. Ooh, that's unfortunate.
It's going to be a red one.
Yeah, well,
Sorry,
basically
buddy.
they lost the AL West this past weekend. They went 29 straight innings without scoring a run.
Yeah, that's pretty sad for a team that was one of the better offenses all season. What happened?
No kidding.
Well, they still lead the league in runs, surprisingly.
That's incredible.
Can you believe that?
How do you go that many games without score? That's three plus games, right?
Yeah. So now we're looking at a play-in game against Detroit, which
here's my big question. We talked about this before hypothetically, but it's most likely going to happen now. Who pitches that game right now?
Well, Lester. So
okay, on both sides. I mean, I know Lester's probably going to pitch, but
I think
are you going to put David Price in there?
Sure.
Yeah, you gotta.
I think it has to be Scherzer.
It has to be Scherzer.
I think you have Scherzer out of the bullpen. He's done that in his career before, so I think you have him ready.
You got to stroke his ego, though. I mean, he's been in Detroit. He's a Detroit guy.
He is the man, and they're trying to figure out a way to re-sign somebody in the offseason. Probably should be Scherzer. So I think it would have to be him.
Well,
I would just be completely irked if I was in your situation. I don't understand this, though. I know Yoenis Cespedes is a big part of that lineup, but their entire lineup just went completely blackout. So it's not just on one player.
Well, that's the thing. I hated the trade because it kills the chemistry on your team, first of all, and it adds a ton of pressure to the guys that are already on there to, do better in their offense. So, I mean, there were 30 games over 500 with Cespedes in the lineup this year, and now they're like 15 games under or something with him out of it.
Blame Johnny Gomes. It's all his fault.
What?
He screwed up the chemistry. He had too much fun.
Oh, well, that's... Yeah.
They were probably out partying every night.
Come on.
I don't know. I'm grasping at straw. I don't really know what happened to this team. I have no idea.
I don't either. I really just... It doesn't make any sense to me how one player could be that much of the glue that holds the whole team together.
Yeah. I mean, the first 3 seasons he was there, the past 2, and then this season, every time he's in the lineup, they have a much better chance of winning. But, yeah, it's pretty brutal to watch right now.
Yeah,
it's tough for me. I still got to watch every inning.
All right.
It's rough.
Yeah, really. It's brutal to watch. It's brutal to talk about. Let's move on to football because, let's be honest, it's that time of year, and we're going to focus on nothing else for the next 5-6 months. It's going to happen.
Well, hockey is right around the corner.
What's that?
So
yeah.
That's very important.
What's that?
It's a much better sport than basketball.
Oh, my God.
Bring on the cold.
God, I hate you guys. All right, we got to move on to football. Interesting trade happened over the weekend. Ryan Mallett was traded to the Houston Texans, which tells me that the Houston Texans and Bill O'Brien do not fully trust Ryan Fitzpatrick.
I don't know if it's that, though. I think they just want to have a project to work on. I don't think that they don't trust him because I don't know that Ryan Mallett's going to step in 3 games into the season and save this team.
But are they hoping that what they're getting out of this guy is that he's studied under Tom Brady? Maybe he's going to get the Matt Castle treatment where he comes in, he's learned under the best, and then he comes in and just figures it out.
Well, when was he drafted? Because Bill O'Brien would have worked with him.
Yeah, that actually would make sense.
So, it does make sense. Bill O'Brien's bringing the Patriots to Houston, okay? He's not talking about injuries. He's implementing a 2 tight end system. He's now grabbing another Patriots player. It's what he's comfortable with. So it's not like it doesn't make any sense, and it gives him a project to work on because T.J. Yates is not the project. He's not the guy that's going to get this done.
Well, they tried out Case Keenum last season. He was I actually want to talk about Case Keenum as well because I think that's interesting. He was released, and then he was immediately claimed by St. Louis.
Yep.
So could we possibly see Case? Because he wasn't terrible last season. He had a couple interesting games, but, rookie guy, you just kind of threw him into a team that had no chance of winning, and he looked the part.
Yeah, he was decent last year. His minimum salary on Star Fantasy Leagues, I threw him in there a few times.
Yeah.
He did okay.
He's going to be in St. Louis. We know that they have one of the worst divisions in the world for opposing quarterbacks, but I can see him playing on your fantasy team in daily on StarFantasyLeague.com if he ends up playing. And
let's also look ahead to next season because the fact is that I think we all think there's at least a possibility that Sam Bradford will not be returning to St. Louis.
Bye, Birdie. Bradford is gone.
There's no way you can sink $12 or $13 million into a guy that can't even stay on the field for a couple of games a season. So, I don't know. I think that they're just kind of considering their options. There's probably going to be some sort of rotisserie style in there. They're probably going to rotate those guys around a little bit. You might see both of them, maybe even all 3 quarterbacks in a game
who knows?
this season.
You know what? I'm confused. the Patriots usually don't give up on guys and then lose something in the process because they drafted Ryan Mallett in the 4th round, and then I think they got only a 7th round or conditional 6th round pick back for him. They basically just said, we're not playing him. Here you go.
Well, I you know what? Honestly, I never question what the Patriots do anymore.
But I'm saying you drafted him that high. Why would you just give him up for nothing? That's a little strange, don't you think?
I mean, hindsight is 20/20. So I mean, you can look back and you can say, yeah, why did we draft him that high? But at the time, it makes sense because somebody's going to pick him up. Somebody was going to draft him. So they say, hey, not sure how much longer Tom has. We should probably get somebody in there just in case. I think Brady's still got another couple years.
Do you think this has more to do with who they drafted, Jimmy Garoppolo? Because apparently he's looked really good in camp and is getting glowing reviews.
Could be, and you always want to kind of rotate those younger
backups.
guys in, and you want to get a younger guy in to be your backup because, he gets to stick around for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, and at least they got some return for Mallett. They didn't just, dump him on waivers. So
that is true. See you later, Case Keenum.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what the situation is.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right, and they drafted him last season too, right? Case Keenum out of Houston.
Yep.
Broke all the records. That guy.
Yep, that guy.
All right, let's talk about another starting rookie quarterback. Oh, what a surprise! Derek Carr named Week 1 starting quarterback for the Oakland Raiders.
Yep. Yeah.
We saw this coming though.
I am definitely foot in mouth on this one because I.
Why you said Matt Schaub?
No, I know. I thought that Schaub had a shot at least some sort of revival. Because
the only shot that Matt Schaub should have is a cortisone shot in his weak noodle of an arm. The guy can't throw the ball anymore.
Listen, it just didn't make sense. Last season did not make sense at all. He was throwing so many interceptions. He was throwing more interceptions than completions. It's ridiculous. So it didn't make any sense to me. So I thought, hey, you know what? Maybe goes out to a different system, gets a new shot at it, and he's just floundered. He's just terrible. So I am not surprised at this.
Yeah, I mean, this could turn out to be a great draft pick for the Raiders. They didn't take him in the 1st round. They waited on him, right? And Schaub, I thought Schaub had a decent chance this year. They brought in some veteran pieces, James Jones there, but I mean,
everybody's always a naysayer. Yeah. Everyone can always jump on the hate train. But
he looked really bad last. It was velocity.
Last year was like the end of Houston's. They didn't even have a shot last year after the first 6 weeks.
But when the velocity is gone, you're gonna have trouble throwing the ball.
Well, he was never a hard thrower.
Yeah, but
he never had a rocket arm.
That's true, but he was throwing up pigeons.
Right,
straight up
Well,
ducks.
you know what? We agree. He stinks.
Yeah, that's all we need to talk about. All right, coming out of the break, we're going to talk about the rest of the Oakland Raiders and their fantasy implications, and we're finally getting to Jason's San Francisco 49ers. We'll break down that whole team after the break. And you also have the Star Fantasy League show on 105.5 The Team.
The Star Fantasy League show. Information is key to being a successful fantasy team owner, and the guys have all the updated info you need right now. Okay, fantasy sports fans.
There's a letter in your mailbox.
Time to dig into Donald's mailbag for your questions and comments.
Read the mail, read the mail, read the mail.
Jump in the game. Send your questions and comments to the Star Fantasy League's team by tweeting at SFL Show.
Yeah, you can still tweet us at SFL Show, but the problem is we have no mailbag yet again. We are breaking down the San Francisco 49ers today, but first we talked about the Oakland Raiders before the break, starting Derek Carr in Week 1. What do you guys feel like fantasy looks like from this team now? Now with a different guy in there, a young guy who is going to throw the ball.
Well, probably a little bit better, particularly for the deep ball because he has a much stronger arm than Matt Schaub does. At the same time, there's going to be a learning curve. So I think the first few weeks are going to be a little bit rough, but I think you need to keep your eye on everybody. If you have James Jones, I would definitely hang on to him because he's probably going to be one of the most instrumental receivers in Derek Carr's development. But other guys like Denarius Moore, definitely keep your eye on him.
They were loving each other. And for some reason, he was throwing the ball to Michael Rivera a lot, tight end there.
I mean, if you have a guy that gets injured and you're looking to just pick up a flyer, grab Denarius Moore. I think that's a great one to go for. Not so sure about Rod Streeter.
Do you think that might hurt the other guys, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and Rivera, I think he might be worth a look as well because you always get the rookie quarterbacks, and their first look, their check down safety guy is always the tight end, so...
Yeah, they usually don't live through the entire play. They don't live through 3-4 reads.
Yeah.
So you kind of want to look at those shorter passing options.
Perfect. And we have to mention, God, the Oakland Raiders can't draft to save their lives. Second-round pick from a year ago, Menelik Watson, already benched.
This is an organizational problem. This is not. I never believed that this was Al Davis coming down from on high, making them take all of these
guys. He made
guys.
that draft pick from the grave. You didn't hear?
That's what I'm saying. Is that everybody had this delusion that Al Davis was running this team into the ground. He was not. Actually, Al Davis was one of the best owners in the history of the game, so I'm not really sure where that's coming from.
The media.
Sure, yeah. But, no, this entire organization has a drafting problem. Why do you draft a guy that has a hole in his heart and has a lot of injury problems? Why would you draft a guy that played basketball and you want to turn him into an offensive tackle? I don't get that. Basketball players as tight ends have worked out, so maybe it works out on the offensive line too. It just doesn't make sense. I don't know what their problem is. You're going to see another GM in there in another year or two.
I think they need to go back to L.A.
Maybe.
Yeah, that fixes everything. There you go.
Fixes everything. Fixes the A's Coliseum, so.
Yeah, you just want them to stop tearing up your field in Oakland, don't you? Oh, yeah. All right, I hear that. We got to move on. We're talking about the San Francisco 49ers. We got to give them their due time because we spent a lot of time on news today.
Moving across the bay now.
Yeah. Yep. No, didn't you want them not to play in the same stadium? Weren't you yelling about that?
Who? You
didn't want San Francisco and Oakland to play in that Coliseum, the Levi's Stadium, wherever it is?
Oh, Levi's Stadium, they're having their problems already.
Are they?
Yeah, they've had to resod the field 3 times.
Oh, great. How exciting.
Yes. You didn't hear about that?
No, I didn't hear about that.
This is the grass there, I guess, is awful, and they were practicing there. They had opened one up to the public, and guys were just turning their ankles.
Oh, goody.
And they had to cancel practice, and then they had a game against the Chargers. The whole field is torn up. Yeah, so
Nick is so excited about this. He's just smiling from ear to ear.
No more scamper, Nick. Now you got to learn how to throw the ball.
Well, week 2 against the Bears, you'll be cheering for them on Sunday Night Football, right?
No.
You're not going to cheer for San Francisco? You're going to cheer for both teams to lose?
I'm going to cheer for a tie.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
tie.
You guys know about ties from
yes,
last
we do.
year. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we tied with a backup quarterback, by the way. Actually, third quarterback.
Oh, God.
Scott Tolzien!
I don't want to hear. We're not talking about Green Bay. We're talking about San Francisco, a team that was one pass away from making the Super Bowl for back-to-back years, but Richard Sherman said no thank you.
Well, I mean, when you put the best corner in the game up against a sorry receiver like Crabtree, that's what you're going to get.
All right, let's talk about this because all of the statistics, if you look at the stats just on the surface, you see a team that was 24th overall on offense, couldn't pass the ball, but their rushing was great. But let's be honest, who was Kaepernick throwing to before, week 12, week 13?
Yeah.
Who? I don't even know.
Bolden.
Yeah, okay, but Bolden is not a number one guy.
Vernon Davis.
He fit it.
Kind
yeah,
of.
That is true. He was
too.
Yeah, he was at 60% most of the year. But he still. I mean, he only had 54 catches though.
Yeah, I mean he was definitely injured most of the year, but I don't know.
You want me? May I start?
I'm waiting.
I'm letting you go here. I want to hear your positivity.
He's chomping at the bit to just smash on him.
I mean, John's right. After around November 25th, when they got those receivers back, Kaepernick finished very strong. He only had 1 interception in his last 6 games. Finished with 10 touchdowns, 1 interception. They had a great role there. The offense was doing great. He had a 63% completion percentage of those games.
Oh, better than his 54 the rest of the year. He was pretty bad.
So you look at, if everybody's healthy now this season, Crabtree's back, Davis is back, Bolden's back. They have all the pieces on offense to have a good year. I'm just really skeptical about the defense, which basically carried them throughout the whole season last year.
They needed to the first, 10 weeks where Kaepernick could not figure out how to play football.
Yeah, and the defense is really scaring me this year.
All right, let's talk about the defense really quickly because we normally talk about key additions.
We don't get to go off about Scampernick?
We'll transition.
You're lucky, buddy.
I like to transition.
I'm sure we'll
don't
get
you
back to
worry. Yeah, we will. We normally talk about key losses, but for some reason, all of the key losses for San Francisco are actually still on the team. They just won't be playing this season because off-field issues, injuries. This team is just an absolute wreck on defense. They did lose Carlos Rogers, Terrell Brown, Dante Whitner. Those are actual players that won't be on the team. Right. Alden Smith, 9 games from charges I can't even explain because he's a psychopath.
Yep.
Gun charges, yelling bomb at an airport. Probably a terrible idea. Don't do that.
He pretty much outlined all the things that I will not be doing as I step on an airplane.
Very smart idea, especially when you're going to a foreign country.
Yes,
don't do that.
Absolutely.
Also, Chris Culliver apparently hit a guy and then made a threat to another guy. Yeah, that's real smart.
That's good.
And then Navarro Bowman he's pretty much going to miss a lot of the season. This is what we assume.
I'm going to tell you right now, I hated that he went out that way. I hated that he was injured.
Oh, that was
I have a lot
brutal.
of respect for their defense. They do it the right way. They hit hard. They play fast. They're really not cheap. They're not cheap at all. No. I don't have any problems with the way they play defense, and that's actually something that I look forward to as a Packers fan, is seeing our offense stack up against defense like that. Missing Navarro Bowman, I thought he was one of the most underrated linebackers for the past 2 seasons. That's just a blow. That's a huge
Patrick
blow.
Willis gets all the name value there, doesn't he? And it's just Bowman's
Love
just
Patrick
a
Willis.
solid guy.
Love Patrick Willis, but Navarro Bowman was that underrated, under the radar kind of guy.
Yeah, that was rough to watch against the Seahawks.
Yeah,
it was
let's never discuss that ever again, please.
Yeah, well, Patrick Willis slides into Bowman's spot now this year.
Yep.
He's been a little banged up this preseason, but he's mostly healthy. The last couple of years, he's been injured. His broken hand, I think the last couple of years. But also, didn't mention Ray McDonald.
Oh, yeah. Why is he not? Oh, no, he is written out on there. I'm just an idiot. I skipped over him.
Who might be gone 6 games now with the new policy.
No, that's not how that works, though. They have to let the legal process go because there was no video of him beating his wife.
Remember, Ray Rice didn't actually go through the legal proceedings. They settled out of court.
Yep.
So, yeah.
So as long as they keep the legal proceedings going, he'll be suspended next year. So that will not happen.
Harbaugh has taken a strong stance on violence against women. There's a quote that Dante Whitner said, I don't know if you guys saw it, where basically he said if you put your hand on a woman, you're done in his eyes. So, I mean, he could be gone from this team. They could just trade him or drop him or whatever. But, he's a big piece of the interior line.
Yeah, it's one of those things where there's going to be an internal investigation, they said. So it could turn out that this is nothing. According to his story, he's saying some crazy things happened is not what it seems. So,
yeah, but
of course, save face. Yeah, save face, say that,
so.
whatever.
And then another guy, and then their interior line is Glenn Dorsey, who tore his biceps. He's probably going to be out 8 games. So they're missing a lot of key pieces.
Yeah, I feel like, especially looking at their schedule, I think they could be in trouble. Like serious trouble this season.
I think they could too.
I'm thinking probably 10-6 this year.
See, that is, I don't think that's happening.
Well, I don't know. I mean, listen, the system in San Francisco works really well. They do a very good job of controlling the ball on offense and then stopping teams on defense. They're not completely decimated on defense, although it doesn't look good.
They're
pretty
decimated.
Last season, the only 2 teams that scored more than 20 points when they lost to the 49ers were Green Bay and Atlanta. And other than that, Seattle scored over 20 and Indy scored over 20, and those were wins for those teams. So, yeah, I think that's going to be a big issue because their defense needs to make sure that the other team doesn't do any damage.
I would say they're playing a lot of strong offenses. That's my only issue here. They're going up against the AFC West, who has some firepower in Denver and San Diego. Mm-hmm. The NFC East is all firepower there. You got Dallas. We know their defense is terrible. Philadelphia's offense is great. New York's probably going to be improved. And then their other 2 out of schedule games are New Orleans and Chicago. Yeah. This is not a good year for them.
No, it's not.
I could see them literally winning 8 games. I could see them winning 8 games.
Yeah, I mean, their offense is really going to have to step up this year.
Yeah.
And I think a big test will be week 1 against the Cowboys. We'll see how they do against that awful defense. If they struggle against the Cowboys, outlook for me this year is not too good for the whole team.
Well, the one way that they could do that is by having a quarterback that looks past his first read.
All right, you know what?
I'm sorry. I had to say it.
I'm going to let you
hear.
I was saving this because the biggest offseason question is where you were heading earlier. With healthy weapons on the field, can Colin Kaepernick make a big leap forward this season? Go ahead, Nick. Have fun.
Watching those games against the Packers, he locked into his first receiver, and the Packers' defense was inept. They stink, okay? I really don't like the way that they play defense. But he locked into that first receiver, and he would look right at Crabtree. He would stare him down, and it kept on working because Dom Capers, for whatever reason, couldn't wrap his head around the fact that Colin Kaepernick is in love with Michael Crabtree. For good reason. Crabtree's a good receiver. But for them to be successful long term, I really think that he needs to start figuring out how to spread the ball around on offense. They do have capable receivers. Vernon Davis is no scrub. That guy knows how to play. For the longest time before Crabtree got there, he was known as the best receiver, hands down, in that offense. He was the fastest, the strongest, the most athletic. He could do anything. Yep. So they have 2 weapons there that are fantastic. And then Anquan Bolden just doesn't go away. He does not go away. He is always strong on the ball. He can outmuscle anybody in the league. I don't care if he's getting older. He's a great possession receiver. They have 3 guys right there that should be able to get Colin Kaepernick over 4,000 yards passing every season.
Yeah, it depends if they're going to shift their offensive focus from the run game to the pass game. But a huge addition is Alex Boone, ended his holdout this past week.
Yep.
He started every game the last 2 seasons for them, so that's going to be good.
And their line's solid. That's why do you think
their line is solid?
Why do you think they have a run heavy offense? Because you have a sick line, just run them up the middle.
Prior to them adding guys like Crabtree and Kaepernick and whatnot on offense, they focused on that offensive line.
Smart.
And it paid off big time.
Most teams that you hear just can't run the ball, can't throw the ball. Why? Because their quarterback is on the ground.
Yep.
This keeps happening.
So, I mean, it depends how the rushing attack's going to be this year. Frank Gore's back. He's still healthy.
He's still the man.
Carlos Hyde's there. He's looked really good.
Yeah, nobody's gotten, over 160 160 rushes in the past couple of years. Everyone keeps saying, oh, it's going to be like Michael James. It's going to be Carlos Hyde. It's going to be all these different guys they keep bringing as the second option. It's never been one of those guys.
Always Frankie. Frankie's always there. He's always reliable. He's still going to be good.
Yep. I love the Gore.
Yeah, why wouldn't you love Frank Gore? The guy's just been a solid fantasy back. He never has trouble with touchdowns. He's the goal line back on these teams.
Yep.
Why people keep shying away from him? I know he doesn't catch the ball. I don't even think he knows how to catch the ball. Does he know how to catch the ball?
There's still two things that the Niners have on offense that no other team has. They have a quarterback that can run. Well, not no other team, but they have a quarterback that can run, and he knows how to protect the ball. He doesn't turn the ball over a lot, so that's why they end up controlling that clock frequently.
That is certainly true. Coming off the break, we're going to talk fantasy implications for every single member of the San Francisco 49ers. We're also talking drafting strategy for your leagues. And you're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on 105.5 The Team.
Play fantasy sports for cash prizes. Join the top daily and weekly fantasy leagues in the country at starfantasyleagues.com. Now, back to the Star Fantasy League show with Jonathan, Zach, and Nick. Only on The Team.
God, he's wrong again. Jason, what do you pay him? Do something.
I have a feeling he's going to be wrong for quite a bit here.
Yeah, it's true. We really should get a new guy when you're here. We should just get a specific new voiceover guy when you're here. Yeah. Maybe I'll accidentally do some voiceover work. Now back on the show with that guy that nobody remembers. It's Jason Gringer. Hey.
Thanks a lot.
I don't know. He's just a jerk. What a jerk. Whatever, Cage guy. We're not talking about you anymore. We are talking about the San Francisco 49ers from a fantasy perspective because we're talking about how I think they're going to regress a little bit. I think they could be a 9-win team, 8 wins maybe. Well, depends how that defense looks.
Also, if Kaepernick gets injured, their season is over.
Done.
Because they have Blaine Gabbert and Josh Johnson as the backup quarterbacks.
Who?
Yeah.
Is Blaine Gabbert still in the NFL?
Apparently.
Didn't you trade for him too?
Yeah.
That's even worse. Did you give him like?
I don't know if I did trade for him.
I think.
No, I'm pretty sure
they just picked him up.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't think Blaine Gabbert had any trade value when he came into the league. So.
No, you could have traded him some San Francisco takeout food and just ship it over to Jacksonville.
Probably would be better than what they have down in Jacksonville. Anyway,
yeah, I was saying. Give him some fresh fish from San Francisco. No big deal. All right, so we need to talk about this team from a fantasy perspective. The first guy we obviously have to mention is Colin Kaepernick, currently going as the 13th overall quarterback in the 9th round. We mentioned a lot on the show how much we like late-round quarterbacks this season. The Roethlisbergers, obviously Phil Rivers we're high on. Is Kaepernick in that discussion, or do you think you like the guys who can air it out a little bit better?
Well, we were talking about this a little bit over the break. Kaepernick, he knows how to run, but unlike some of the other running quarterbacks in this league, he also knows how to not take a big hit. And that's a big part of it. I mean, he either gets out of bounds or he uses his 6'4", 230 frame to bowl over a smaller defensive back.
Well, I was going to say, he's actually built like a linebacker. The guy is enormous. That's why when his hits, he always goes through a hit. He never gets smashed back like RG3 always does.
Exactly. I was about to say, Griffin seems to have the thought that he can do that.
He's built like a very, very small quarterback.
Yeah, well,
not going to work.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Kaepernick is pretty valuable. I personally just don't like the fact that he doesn't do as well in the passing game as some other quarterbacks. Yep. But the rushing aspect is there, and he can score a couple of rushing touchdowns
points every week.
Yeah, so I mean, he's had 4 and 5 rushing touchdowns over the past couple of years. And the other thing is that he doesn't turn the ball over. So there isn't – I don't know that there is a lot of upside with him, but you do know what you're going to get. You're going to get a decent passing quarterback and a guy that can run.
Yeah, if you have a passing touchdown league – or it's like 6 points per passing touchdown, stay far, far away from Colin Kaepernick.
Probably not as good.
Yeah, but if everything's on equal ground, 4 points for touchdowns, I'm okay with Colin Kaepernick. Depends where you get him.
Yeah, I'm drafting him as my backup.
Yeah. I mean, it depends who's on the board. If Roethlisberger or Rivers is there, I still like them better.
But, I do. You know what kills me is that last year everybody was talking about him as possibly a top 5 NFL quarterback. I never saw that with his skill set.
Well, I think that's because they saw what he did against Green Bay in the playoffs and how much he just ran over them and all the rushing yards.
And this year against Carolina in the playoffs, he did the same thing. He had like 140 rushing yards.
No, that was against the Seahawks. He had 130 yards.
Was it? Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
The championship game. Yeah. That's insane.
That was pretty crazy against Seattle, but yeah. I don't know, take a late round flyer on him. If you get more points for rushing touchdowns for quarterbacks, I'm in a couple leagues like that. Like you'll get 8 points for a quarterback rushing
Then
touchdown.
yes, please. Him, Cam Newton, guys like that, obviously. All right, let's talk about old reliable Mr. Gore himself. Going as the 26th running back in the 5th round, please, unless you're in a PPR league, obviously, even if you are, if he's your 3rd running back, I'm pretty happy about this.
He should not be going behind
Bishop
Ben
Sankey.
Tate.
Bishop Sankey.
Well, he's actually ahead of Bishop Sankey.
Oh, is he really now?
rankings,
Oh,
yeah.
Sankey must have dropped back because at one point he was up there.
He really shouldn't be going behind a lot of these guys. I mean, I see why. I guess I get it, but he's so reliable. He is so reliable that you just can't pass him up like that.
This garbage is happening. We mentioned it before the break. Carlos Hyde, the second guy in the San Francisco running game, he's going in the 8th round right now, 90th overall. Every single year there's a hot backup behind Frank Gore that gets drafted way too high, and you never hear from them.
Yeah,
ever.
We're just talking about PPR leagues, no keepers, no dynasty or anything like that. He really is going to factor in a ton this year, and I would definitely take him ahead of his late 5th round ADP.
Yeah, keep saying it. The line there is incredible.
I would take him ahead of pretty much everybody else in the 5th round. You have Ryan Matthews, Ray Rice, Pierre Thomas, Ben Tate. I wouldn't. I'm sorry, I just don't. Ryan Matthews, his upside is capped.
I think Pierre Thomas from a PPR standpoint could be a monster.
But last year you got a combination of 1,000 yards from him in the passing and the rushing game, and he doesn't get any goal line work. Gore gets all the goal line work.
I'll say the big number you have to talk about when you talk about Pierre Thomas is I think he had 76 receptions.
Yeah, 77.
Was it 77? That's a monster number.
That's great. But if you're in a half-point league or a non-PPR league altogether, then Frank Gore's way up there.
Yeah.
I just think that coupled with his goal line work, you have to put him ahead of those guys.
Yeah, they have been trying to lighten his load the last couple of years. He is 31, but really they have some injuries at running back behind him.
Yeah, Lattimore.
Kendall Hunter's out, and Lattimore's out for probably the season as well. So basically you've got –
I'm sorry, he hasn't played it down yet in the NFL.
He's been getting paid to be an NFL player.
Exactly, and it's so sad.
Yeah, Michael James and Carlos Hyde's what's behind him. So I think he's probably going to get quite a few carries this year. He should be a solid guy.
Yeah, I like him a lot. All right, let's move on to the wide receivers here. Hopefully they're all healthy. Personally, I like Anquan Boldin where he's being drafted. When he is the second receiver and he's not getting all the attention in the world, I actually think he's more valuable to this team.
Yeah, I think he's a lot more valuable in PPR leagues.
He can catch 80 balls easy.
Yeah, he takes some routes over the middle. Yep. He's very reliable. His hands are strong.
We've seen he can be hit in the face and still keep going. So that was so brutal.
I'm not touching him.
No?
I'm not touching him.
In the 10th round, you're not touching him?
I'm not touching him. And the reason is because, like I said,
upside guys.
I really think that Colin Kaepernick locks into a receiver. And I don't think that he sees the whole field the way that it should be seen. So I don't know that I have a lot of faith in the receiving game. Michael Crabtree, on the other hand, he loves Michael Crabtree.
Yep,
Crabtree is a great receiver. He runs great routes. I think he locks into him enough that you can have a lot of upside.
Are you into guys who you just know aren't going to play 16 games? There's no way he plays 16 games.
Well, yeah, I mean, I
13 games?
I still haven't put my mitts on him, so I really don't. I don't know. I mean, I'd rather take a guy like Torrey Smith in the 5th round.
Yeah, I'll say a guy like Crabtree, a guy like Percy Harvin. Anytime you see him as the best, quote unquote, best guy on the board for receivers, I'm always overlooking them.
I really do fade off of them pretty hard.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Torrey Smith, we keep trending him up. Take him if he's there over a guy like. Yeah, I just don't want a guy that's going to play 12 to 14 games. Guaranteed. Mm-hmm. Not a thing.
Yeah, personally, I haven't drafted Crabtree this year. I hate taking guys on my own team, first of all.
You play on that team?
Well, the team I like to watch every week.
I always take Big Ben every year, so I don't know what you're talking about personally. And Heath Miller.
But Crabtree, he's got big upside if he's healthy and he's going to play mostly. Kaepernick loves him. He gets a ton of balls. He can easily go over 1,000 yards.
Anytime you say the word "if he's healthy," that just red flag. No, thank you. I can't touch him.
He's a sorry receiver, dude. I'm sorry. It's just sorry receiver, Michael Crabtree.
It depends when you can snag him. If you can snag him like sixth round area, 7th round, even 8th, do it.
I don't know that he would ever fall that far.
Yeah, if he lasts that far, something's wrong with your league, or everybody's scared to death of him.
I had a draft like that last night where everything was wrong with the league except for me. It was great.
Of course.
It was fantastic.
Nick has to brag. No,
I'm actually not bragging. I'm actually just laughing at why anybody would invite me into their league when they draft a kicker in the 4th round.
That's pretty
Or
sad.
It is pretty sad.
Defense of the first overall pick, right?
No, Seattle defense went in the 3rd round last night.
Well,
that is just
in
wrong.
my draft yesterday.
You had the first overall pick. Seattle.
Somebody drafted Seattle first overall.
That's horrifying. That is horrifying. All right.
I couldn't wait on him, man. I couldn't wait.
We have one more guy we need to talk about. Since you said you aren't really high on anybody that's not locked in like Michael Crabtree, what about Vernon Davis? You
I
feeling?
still like Vernon Davis. I really just I'm not sure where everybody's fading off of him from. I know he didn't have a ton of receptions last year. I know that he had more touchdowns.
He's still a top 5 tight end. That's okay.
He really is.
The drop off is at 6 or 7, depending who you like. It's either Olsen or Kyle Rudolph.
The guy can do it
drop-off.
all. Yeah. He can do it all. He's a mismatch on offense. He can get down the field. He can beat guys down the field, and he can catch the ball in the red zone.
Yeah, and you saw, I think the chemistry is much improved between Kaepernick and Davis now.
Absolutely.
With all the touchdowns he's getting.
Yeah,
so,
13 last year?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a monster.
He's a beast. I love him, but
I think it's fantastic. I really don't know. I mean, I think my top 5 are pretty set. I think he's number 5, but I love him more than Witten and Rudolph. I think he's got more upside than those guys.
I've been seeing Jordan Cameron drop in most of the drafts I've been doing, and if I can get him, I'm either getting him or I'm waiting till later and getting one of the upside tight ends like an Ertz or a Green.
Yep.
But not feeling good about it.
I still love Cameron.
Yeah.
Cameron's still going to be the man.
I've seen Davis going higher than Cameron the last
That's
few drafts I've been having.
drunk. You are drunk.
And I'm scooping up Cameron.
Well, I don't know. I'm not. There's still a possibility. The offense is going to be better in
Who
San
the
Francisco.
heck is playing in Cleveland?
I could see it going either way. I still think I have Cameron locked in as number 4, but I could see Vernon Davis doing better.
Crazy statement. I think Cameron could catch 110 balls.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
I think Miles Austin's going to play 4 games on the team. I can't name anybody else that will catch the ball there. Nope, I'll go 110.
He's going to be getting a lot of looks there.
He'll get over 130 targets. Watch. It's going to happen.
Well, that I could definitely get on board with.
I bet you he catches 110 balls.
He's going to be the most focused player on anybody's defense. Every single week they're going to be like, okay, we got to have 3 guys on Cameron. Don't worry about Miles Austin. Don't worry about Andrew Hawkins. Don't worry about none of them. Andrew Hawkins doesn't even play for them, does he? I don't even know.
That's
You're right.
what I said.
don't even
You
know.
just don't know. All right, we got to get off that team because we're talking about a random team that nobody cares about. But we need to talk about drafting strategy because this week, StarFantasyLeagues.com is going to be the busiest time of the year for drafting season-long leagues. We got a few minutes here. I just want to go over your basic strategy. Just before you even sit down to make your draft, what is your plan? Are you putting players in your queue that you like? What are you doing going into draft day?
First 2 rounds, I go with the best player available.
No matter what.
It doesn't matter, yeah. Because if you're in the first 5 picks, you should be taking a top running back. If you're on the back end, you should be taking a wide receiver. You can make a case for Jimmy Graham, whatever you want to do. But you should be taking the best running back or wide receiver in the first 2 rounds. I think you wait on a quarterback. The quarterback pool is too deep. You don't need to jump on a guy like Peyton Manning, who I think is going to regress. You just wait on that stuff. And then I think you kind of go with a tight end in the maybe 5th, 6th, 7th round, somewhere in that area. Wait on your defense and kicker, please, towards the end of the draft.
Yeah, why do we have to keep saying that? Why do we have to keep telling you on the Star Fantasy League show?
Because the Seattle defense is the realest, man. They're going to get it this year.
I will guarantee they will not be number 1.
No,
some stupid team like the Texans will probably be number 1 this year.
You look at the Chiefs last year. They were number 2.
No, they
came
number
out of
1.
nowhere.
Chiefs
were
number
1.
Well, overall points, right?
Yeah.
Depends on which league you're in, I guess.
Sure.
Scoring-wise,
You
but
will stop that. There are every league is exactly the same.
No,
Scoring is the same over every league.
Oh, goody.
That's a joke.
Here we go.
They're clearly not the same. All right, so I mean, yeah, when you sit down, sometimes do you go through like who you expect to get in what position? Do you actually map these things out when you're sitting down?
You can get an idea, but until you get into that draft, you're never going to know. You have to wait and see what falls to you. You should have an idea of where you want to target players. Certain rounds, like we know we want to target guys like Torrey Smith and Mike Wallace and Golden Tate in the 5th, 6th, and 7th round, respectively.
Well, he's smiling at me because I made a face. I am not touching Mike Wallace in any round that starts in a number. All right.
Here we go.
Really?
Yes, you can't stand Mike Wallace either.
No, I like Mike Wallace.
Oh, my
Mikey
gosh.
Wallace, baby.
I'm not talking to either of you. All right, coming after the
gonna have
break,
a good
we
year.
are giving you some of our best draft strategies to make your best league lineup on StarFantasyLeague.com. And you'll see the Star Fantasy League show on 105.5 The Team.
You're listening to the Star Fantasy League Show. Contact the StarFantasyLeagues.com guys via Twitter at SFL Show.
We are back on the Star Fantasy League show, and we've mentioned it a million times. I have to talk about StarFantasyLeagues.com because we offer both daily and season-long fantasy football. What other site does that?
It's Beautiful.
None. And if you want to sign up today to get in on the action, there's a few more days to draft your leagues. Actually, you can draft all the way up until whenever the heck you want.
Well, you can draft like 4 weeks into the season, I think we set it at.
That is true. You can do whatever you'd like. Most of the leagues will be filling in the next couple days before week 1 starts. So get in there, join the leagues, and we have an awesome bonus code for you. It's FREE14, FREE14. Put that in on your first deposit. You get a 100% deposit bonus to $2,000 and an $11 cash credit. That's the best offer we've ever had.
That's your big boy.
Yeah, Zach's not here, so we're allowed to offer that much money.
Oh, yeah.
Oops, he didn't approve that.
Yeah, we do it right in his face, though, too.
Yeah, take that, Zach.
Take my money.
Yeah, that is true. All right, we need to talk about some trends that have been happening in ADP, average draft position. That's where it's kind of what you look at to see where players are going in drafts and then build your strategy accordingly. So, Nick, what have you been seeing for trends? Players that are trending upward, maybe a little bit too much. Players trending downward, where you can get them.
Well, I have 2 guys that are trending upwards and definitely deserve to be trending upwards. Torrey Smith, who we talked about plenty of times on this show, and Justin Hunter. Justin Hunter is a great guy to take because he's going to be the second option in an offense with Ken Wisenhunt. Ken Wisenhunt is a wizard when it comes to molding a passing offense. Yes, Wisenhunt the wizard. So I think that he's going to be great. It's also been reported that he has been stellar inside the red zone. Yeah. They've been targeting him as that big fade guy. Anytime they get around the goal line, they back it up and just toss a fade to him. So I love him, especially in touchdown-heavy leagues. I think both of those guys are worth it. Hunter is going somewhere in the 9th or 10th round right now.
I feel like that's too late for him.
Well,
I think it's
great.
I
would take Hunter over Kendall Wright.
Really?
Oh,
yes.
Really?
Yes.
In a PPR league? No, thank you.
Kendall Wright has not looked good this preseason. Hunter's getting a lot more balls his way. He's going to get all the touchdowns, I think. And
wow.
I like Hunter more than Wright.
Is this section called bold predictions? Or?
I think I think they could both be viable because I think that run game is going to be garbage.
Zach
in
would
Tennessee.
literally be on the floor
laughing,
heaving right now is what I was going to say.
Yeah, Zach and I are both all over. I drafted Kendall Wright last year. I liked him a lot.
I still like Kendall Wright, but I think that passing offense is going to be a lot better than people are giving it.
It's going to have to be because Bishop Sankey is not the real deal. Stay away from Bishop Sankey.
Yeah,
stay away.
He's actually second on the depth chart.
That's what I'm saying. He's one of those guys that's trending. Yeah, too bad. All right, who else are we looking at?
So I got 2 guys that are trending downward. I got Stephen Ridley and Lamar Miller.
Well, you know why Stephen Ridley's trending down because that article on CBS Boston that said he wasn't going to make the roster, and now he made the roster.
He did make the roster, and I think he's going to play a heck of a lot more than people think. He still has fumble problems. I'm still very nervous about him, but I think you can get him a little bit lower, and he might actually be worth it.
Nick, we just have late-breaking news. Stephen Ridley just fumbled.
Oh, yep, okay.
Yeah, that happened again.
And then the other guy, Lamar Miller, the reason he's trending downward, Sean Moreno is actually playing well. I don't know. I mean, you know what? Honestly, I really wish I could just stay away from this situation altogether. But in a couple of my drafts, I just waited too long on running backs, and I'm now stuck with Lamar Miller for the second season. So I'm really hoping that he gets his act together.
Yeah, and I've seen lately people are taking Moreno ahead of Miller.
Yep.
Quite a bit.
You know what the smartest draft strategy when it involves the Miami Dolphins? Stay away.
No.
Tannehill.
Listen, okay, right? Bill Lazor's coming in. He's going to revamp this offense. Ryan Tannehill is taking the next step. He's going to improve yet again, and Mike Wallace is the man.
All right, you can take the next step in your domination of season-long fantasy football by playing on StarFantasyLeagues.com. Best bonus offer we could possibly give you is FREE14, FREE14. That's 100% to $2,000 and an $11 credit directly in your account. Leagues are filling all the time. Daily, get in the leagues.
Easy money, tons of fun. Get on board. Start learning how to play some daily fantasy football.
That is true. Season-long, daily, both in the same place. StarFantasyLeagues.com is the very first site to do it. Get in on the action. It's one of the best places to play. And I've said it a million times, football is coming. And if you aren't playing daily fantasy football and season-long fantasy football on StarFantasyLeagues.com, you're not doing it right.